So apparently Affinity released this new app, and I thought it would be fun as a Adobe user who's been using the full Adobe Creative Suite for many years now. I thought it might be fun to test out Affinity's app and just see how it differs and if I could work with it maybe. Now, I usually do some simple vector work in Illustrator, so I'll be focusing on that mainly here. I'm not a vector artist. I don't do artwork with Illustrator or anything, so my workflow will be adapted to that kind of work, so keep that in mind. I just downloaded Affinity. I have been messing with it a bit at my PC in my office, but I just installed it at home and I'll try to see what kind of things I find and what kind of quirks I find compared to Adobe. So I don't know, let's just start doing stuff. First, rectangle. I know that by default is U. Works as you'd expect. First, I'm gonna go through some default styles and user interface settings. I'll just go through this and see what I can find. Color, I want that to be foie. Shortcuts, I'll get to those in a minute. Autocorrect is fun. There was a setting here that I wanted to use mouse wheel to zoom. I think that's nice. Okay, so shortcuts is what I want to tackle first. U is default for these, which is different to how I usually work. I like that to be somewhere accessible. Maybe V. Of course, they start doing some drilling right as I start recording. So the first thing I noticed is you're not allowed to use modifiers for tools and simple things. So I think they're reserved just for UI or document handling. It's a bit different, but maybe I can work with it. For example, shape builder, I like on Shift W in Illustrator. Can't do that here. I would just have to get used to it. And it said something about set fill to black and white. Now what I would like here is a search. Can I use this search? I can't use this search to search for shortcuts. That's unlucky. I would like a search here on shortcuts so I don't have to go digging in which menu it is in. The fill tool. So there. Now we have our basic shapes on B. That feels better. Other thing I don't like a lot is having multiple tools in the same key, which is what this program seems to like to do a lot. For example, S here is for shape builder, which is good there, but it also has some other tools which I cannot see. Like, what tool am I on now? I don't. Okay, I'm on clone brush tool. Okay, I probably won't be using that. I would like to get rid of it. Like, I don't want to accidentally click it with S. So now I'll go through. Apparently zoom tool is also on zoom tool. Interesting. The contour tool is nice. I'll show that in a bit. I think I want that to be an R. Okay, so I think that's like some basic shortcuts done. So now I can make shapes. But that is a difference I notice. If you're on the node select tool, you can't instantly drag anything. So for example, if we go in the Illustrator and we have a square, if I'm on just the normal direct selection tool, I can move it around no matter which shortcut I'm on. I can always move it with the first click. So I'm guessing what they're tackling is if you have like points inside of a shape with the direct selection tool, I can't just like select this point. I would have to do like a sort of creative selection here if I want to select this point, and maybe then adjust it. But then it also selects this side, which is not intended. I would have to select this point and then deselect that. But it's selecting the whole square. I need to deselect the whole square. Now I can move this point. So I'm guessing with Affinity they handle this issue. I guess not. Did I not put the point on this square? Is that just a floating point in here? No, that point went nowhere. Okay, so that is a new point entirely. Okay. So I have this rectangle. I can't add points directly. I need to convert it to curves. And now it's vector points. Let's do the same here. Now if I add points. Okay, so the node tool is how you add points. You don't do it with the pen tool, which is different. Now I'm guessing if I add nodes, I'm guessing if I add nodes to this shape as well, overlap them, I'm assuming with the node selection tool I can select those points. Oh, it doesn't select them. Oh, now it does. Okay. So you first select both of the shapes, and then you can select the points inside. Okay. It's a bit different, but I like that you can work sort of inside the shape here. This is pretty good. Then of course, one of my favorite tools, the shape builder tool, just works pretty much the same as Illustrator. Ooh, I'm doing a lot of accidental things here. So like, oh, right, because when you click again on the tool that you have, it switches back and forth. So right now I'm just pressing A and it hops between the two tools that I have previously selected. So if I now select the shape builder and click S again, it goes back to the tool I was previously on, which can work if you're used to it. I'm just not used to it, so I'm accidentally like pressing it again and switching tools when I don't intend to. So here I would like to, for example, move this point, that point up a bit. So now with shape builder I can delete the inner part here. Wow. And then I should be able to do this. Select both of these shapes, combine. Now they're one shape. And shape builder, I should be able to add this. Yep. Works like you'd expect it to. Contour tool. Add some corners. It would be nice if I had the same widget that Illustrator does. So Illustrator just gives you this widget that you can use around any corner. And it's sort of always there on any shape you can do this to. Whereas in Affinity, it's its own tool on C. Which is again something to get used to a bit. So what I haven't touched on is the actual UI. I'll just modify it a bit. So I like my layers. Ooh. Ooh. I like my layers on this side, just so I have easy access to them all the time. Path brushes. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be using those a lot. Close this panel group. Transform is good to have. Now, what I did notice was missing is a sort of contextual bar. So in Illustrator, you have this properties panel, which sort of adds things depending on what you have selected. So if I add some text, it'll give me text controls. If I select the shape, it gives me shape controls. It's just a good way to have one panel for a bunch of stuff. I couldn't find a contextual panel like this, so I would just have to add everything I want. So for example, I would like to see my character tools. Do they show up? Yeah. So they would be up here, and I'm just not used to navigating this panel a lot. The same thing is in Illustrator here. I just don't use it through this. I would go here and adjust them through here, because there's a lot more settings usually here, as you can see. So if I wanted to, let's see, what's like a thing I might do through here? Like hyphenation is maybe, hyphenation is usually hidden somewhere in these menus. Well, I can't find it. Well, hyphenation is somewhere. So where could I find hyphenation here? Oh, and we can see that the text is actually pixelated, even though we're in vector, but that's because the preview mode is on pixel instead of vector. So I'll probably just keep it on vector for now. We have the usual align controls. And also the nice thing about Affinity's sort of design principles here is that all the apps are kind of in one. So we get the functionality of InDesign through the styles, which is a nice thing. This is like a fun thing to have. So would I have to do hyphenation through here? Apparently it's just a hidden setting on everything. Okay, so let's just add the typography panel to the left, or right timing, because that's where I like it. So typography. Okay, so it's in here. Now that's a lot of, what does this actually give me? Oh, this is like, yeah, I see. That's not what I'm looking for. That's for all the stylings. Just add a character panel here. Boom. What all do I get here? I do find the UI design Affinity to be a bit more hard to read for me, probably because I'm used to how Illustrator displays it. But this to me feels a bit clearer than this. It could be because of the contrast setting here. If I sort of decrease the contrast. Background gray. Oh yeah, that was a fun thing. You can just choose the color here. Do whatever you want. That's pretty nice. Oh yeah, another shortcut is the artport tool to O. Doesn't seem like it. Let's add another artboard. This is what I found also. I'm not sure how I can get the outlines of the artboard visible. Here is this artboard. Huh. I would like the artboard itself to have some kind of border. If I'm working with like a white background, I would like to see the artboard here. I'm a bit confused what this is changing. It is the artboard. So why do I not see the color of the stroke on the artboard? 20? Nope. Yeah, I would like a little. Maybe it is in here, I just can't find it. There's like a little stroke there sometimes. Whatever. Back to text stuff. So text tool will have two tools. You have the normal area type text, and then you have whatever this is called, artistic text tool. So in Illustrator you would have your type tool, just on T, and you can drag to make it a box, or you can click and make it up. You can make it point type or area type. So here they're just in different tools, it seems. Yeah, I'm finding it a bit annoying that I can't drag these letters while I'm in Node tool, but I guess Node tool has a very specific purpose here. So I can make it bold, I can change it to some other font. I don't have font base open, so I don't have my fonts right now. Use Dubai. Does it have like some preset fonts from, do they give you some fun fonts to use? Doesn't seem like it. I'll just have to make do with defaults. Chiller, yeah, that's a good font right there. I can't make it bold because there's no bold in the typeface. Sure, let's use Dubai. And does this make it a, yeah, it's just the bold variant. Okay. So we can muck around with it. Yeah, this is a nice thing that Affinity does, is you don't have to do a lot of the expanding that you need to do in Illustrator for shapes like these. Apparently they got, yeah, okay, so they got kind of auto expanded here. I shape tool them out of this shape. So in Illustrator, if you have a text on top of a shape and you try to use the shape builder tool, it just doesn't recognize the text as a shape. So you need to expand it first. Now you have shapes, and then you go and delete them. I had a stroke on there, but yeah. But Affinity cuts a lot of that out. So if I make, this is something you might do a lot, for example, you might make a shape, and if you want to carve a part of this shape out based on this shape in Illustrator, you would have to create the shape, get rid of the outlines here. You would create a shape, you would add an offset path, let's say 20, and Illustrator still thinks that it's the original shape because this outline hasn't been expanded yet. So only now it's applied the actual appearance change. But with Affinity, you don't need to do a lot of that. So I put my expand or the contour tool, which is for offsetting. So you can just offset it, select both the shape builder, and you can cut it out. And there it is. And it seems to expand after, because it sort of makes a new shape based on that shape, and this shape also gets the expand applied to it. But you can just delete that shape, and now it's carved the bigger shape. I can show it a bit better if I make this smaller. Add a lot more. Oh yeah, this is interesting. If you have a small shape and you contour it a lot, it doesn't actually offset entirely from this. It'll give you a part of it, or like that's as much shape as there was, you know. Whereas in Illustrator, if you have a smaller circle and you expand it a lot, say 200 pixels, you'll just get the expanded shape. There won't be like gaps in there. So this is a bit different, and I wonder if there's any way to avoid this. So in appearance, where's my appearance? Here. Oh, it doesn't actually add it as an appearance. Now what's going on here? In the layers. This is a circle, which does have a contour effect on it, but I can't see it in appearance, for example. So in Illustrator, the offset path would appear in the appearance panel. This is a minor issue, I think, because you can just fill it. And it's a whole shape again, and then if you want to, you can just cut it out. There we have a carved thing. Let's look at the layers panel a bit. This is a lot different than Illustrator, obviously because of the different functionalities here. And I'm a bit curious how this will work. So in Illustrator, we work with layers, which sort of allow you to organize your shapes a bit. But here it organizes by artboard. By default, Illustrator doesn't do this. Things on the same layer and they can be on any artboard. Illustrator doesn't really care. So you'd have to make this organization by yourself. Here, does all of this get automatically transported? Yeah. What if it's in the middle? Okay, so it's sort of like how Photoshop handles it. It switches based on which artboard you're on. So what comes to mind is, for example, if you're putting some Illustrator stuff into After Effects, you can organize it with layers. So After Effects will read each layer as its separate element. So of course, After Effects isn't an Affinity product, so we can't really expect it, but I wonder if there is some way to make this layering work into After Effects. So you can do like a container layer, which this maybe is the same thing as a layer in Illustrator, maybe. I can make a few more, and this could be like layers. I'm not sure exactly what a container layer is, but that's my assumption. And then you can of course group layers, which you can probably do by just Control G. Yep. Yeah, actually interesting, you can group the container layers, because obviously in Illustrator you cannot group these layers. They are just their own thing. But I actually do like the artboard categorization by default, because a lot of the time I will, well, usually when I'm doing stuff, I'll be like out here, sort of messing with things. That's why I like to put it on white, maybe. Maybe I'll do like a white, and I'll just work on a design here. Cool. I'll be working out here and just duplicating copies. Oop. I'm clicking a lot of random buttons accidentally. Okay. So I would like do a bunch of copies here, adjust them a bit, and this is sort of how it will start looking like. How big is the area here actually? Oh, did I lose it? It seems to be pretty big, huh? I think I lost it where I was. Huh. Can I focus? Where am I? Oh, there it is. Okay, so how big is this space here? Seems to be really big. Which is good. Illustrator gives you a pretty limited size, I would say, sometimes. It is a big space, but sometimes working on stuff, you need to just readjust things. But this seems like a really big space. Is it endless? Something weird happens. I can't like move it. Yeah, let's see, how big can I make one of these before it breaks? That's really big. This seems to be about the max size. Oh, now it's breaking a bit. The rendering is breaking. Where did it go? Oh no, is it off the document? Did I lose it? Oh, it's in artboard 1 right now, huh? Take it out. And I can see it again, okay. Yeah, I think the canvas is a bit bigger here in Affinity. I don't know how the performance is though. I did notice the program was freezing sometimes when doing just some basic stuff. For some reason it was freezing when I was hiding and unhiding layers one time. Not sure why. Okay, what else? Fill tool or gradient tool works as you would expect. Maybe works a bit better than Adobe. Except again, because I don't have the contextual bar for gradients, I need to look up here, which I'm not used to. Yeah, that's a gradient. On white. Okay, so it goes to gray here. I wonder if we can change the color blending modes. This is doing it through RGB. But yeah, this works well, I would say. So now let's explore some other tools I can find here. Vector crop tool, now that one is interesting. So here I just have a shape, and then I can use the vector crop tool to crop it. Yeah, so the whole shape is still there. Interesting, so it's sort of scaling this cropped area to the shape. I'm not sure how I would use this. I don't like to use a lot of clipping masks or anything. They usually don't work well in SVGs or anything, so try to avoid clipping masks. Maybe, but it's good in like a conceptual stage when you're just testing things out. That's when it can be good. But I find it's a bit awkward that it's... Can I make like a custom shape here? Like if I want it to be a circle, can I make it can I make the crop a circle? Don't really see an option for that. No, I don't think I can. The measure tool, that can be useful. Oh, and another small thing, copying objects isn't Alt. In Illustrator you can copy things with Alt like this. In Affinity it's Control. Measure tool, so this line to this line. Yep, that's pretty cool. Where does it go? Okay, so it doesn't actually stay here. Point scale. Okay, this is good. You can inspect the scale so you can get like realistic measurements. Is there any other? Can I measure like angles? No. Illustrator got a measure tool as well recently. Well, recently, maybe a few years ago. Works okay, not the best. But you could measure angles with it. This is just for lines, it seems like. Now, what is the area tool? Okay, so you can, okay, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever ran into a use case when I would need to find the area of something, even for print stuff. Perimeter mode. Okay. Yeah, you don't get any more options for that. Style picker tool is fun, or when you're working with styles in layout, for example. I think the biggest things I would need to get used to is just the general UI, how it looks, and the shortcuts things. Now, exporting is another thing. A bit different, just looks different than Illustrator. You got a lot of different things here, of course. PDF is a nice thing to print too, usually. Like, it's a thing where print settings matter the most, I feel. Gives you the estimated size. You got your normal things, profiles, font embedding, basic stuff. I'm not sure if there's anything important missing here. Again, I'm just not used to the UI, so I wouldn't know how different this is. You got all your basic settings here. Usually what you care about is color space, embedding, stuff like that. Printer marks, crop marks. Can I change these? No. Can I see the previewer? No. Okay. You can also export to PSD, which is interesting. I haven't tried how well this works. I don't know what kind of file it outputs. Probably just the folders into layers, maybe. What else? I mean, I feel like these are a lot of the basic tools I would use. Contour tool, pen tool for drawing nice shapes. Pen tool is nice because you're actually allowed to it allows you to lock into 45-degree angles. I think that's nice for some stuff. If you're doing some typography work, for example, usually you need to create your handles in interesting ways. When there's like a thing that does a little shape like this, you usually want it to be 45 degrees. And yeah, the pen tool feels good. Nothing to really complain about. Yeah, and there's a lot of tools. I just don't know what they would do. Path brush tool. Wait, which artboard? Am I on artboard 1? I don't know. Okay, no, I wasn't on artboard. Path brush tool. Painting editable brush strokes as you were painting on paper. Oh. Oh, this is where the brush stuff comes in, huh? Oh, they're doing a little simulation, I see. Again, this is not what I use vector editors for, so I couldn't comment on those. I'm sure there's gonna be some interesting brushes made later. Oh yeah, well, stroke width tool is it's a good one as well. Pretty interesting one to work with. W as well. But actually I can select it with W. So I'm guessing this shows like the default keybind for it. And this works as expected, about the same as in Illustrator. Can I adjust only one side of it? Illustrator allows you to change the size, each side independently. I'm not sure if you can do that. Like a star tool. Does this work as expected? Ooh, a bit different. So you do this as here, okay. Yeah, actually that was one thing I saw, is that you can make shapes and then copy them sort of with the arrow keys. This was a pretty interesting change. Pretty nice. And can I add padding sort of to these? Is that a thing you can do? I would like to make a grid. I would just like to make a grid of these squares. 3x4, sure. Is he moving them down as well? Okay, I'm not sure how that works. But it's cool that you can make a bunch of shapes. Point transform tool. See what that does. Was not it. Okay, so it's a point transform tool as it says, huh? Can you snap this? Yep, you can snap it. Good. Do some rotation. Can I copy with it? Nope. There are rotation tool or something. What if I wanted to make a bunch of squares that sort of fan out? How would I do that? There are a lot of tools that I don't have visible because they're just hidden. Let's see if I can find anything interesting here. Shape separator. What is a shape separator? Oh, it's a separator for the actual panel. I see. Okay, so of course, there's a lot of these tools that are for raster editing, for example, Photoshop included, InDesign stuff included. Won't be going into those a lot in this video. So the scale tool, for example, is what I would like to see, which I sort of feel like the node transform tool is in a way, but so what I'm sort of expecting here is I could set a point, for example there, and then I could copy it while it's aligned to that point, and it would sort of rotate like this while I'm copying, but Doesn't seem to be happening. So in Illustrator, you could do like, let's do a rectangle, and you could copy it with the rotate tool, say 20 degrees, and you can just do a bunch of copies of it. Anyway, you can do some interesting stuff with this in Illustrator. And also the scale tool is something I like to use a decent amount. For example, this sort of custom border radiuses, you can use the scale tool, sort of do these interesting shapes and these nice rounded corners. Just with the scale tool, you can adjust points in interesting ways, symmetrical ways, or you can yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with the scale tool. And I don't think I can see that here. Convert the curves. Does it act differently here? Nope. Does Control D duplicate? No. Can I duplicate if I want to make a bunch of squares that duplicate like this? Can I do that? Yeah, I was looking at the text tool. Okay. Oh, what kind of things can I do here? Optical alignment, font, characters. Is this like custom characters? Can I adjust the spacing for like these? And I can add a custom character if I add an A. Okay, that's not working how I expect it to, but maybe I'm not understanding how this works. Manual. Okay, I'm not sure what that does. No break. There we go. Fill with placeholder. Insert filler text. Yep. Classic. Font. Can I see changes here? I can't jump in the middle of the text. Why? What? How do I, if I want to go in the middle here, how would I do this? I want to stop typing. I don't want to type. How can I how can I jump here? Okay, delete everything. Let's make a few thingies here. Okay, now I can jump around, add things here, add things here, add things here. What is this now? Yeah, that just made a whole new thing. Okay, I'm not sure what that does. I know that you have this functionality, which is nice. By now, insert filler text. You got the InDesign functionality of combining paragraphs. This is like really nice for vector stuff as well. But what I'm confused about is the custom text. So when I add filler text, it's sort of its own text block. I can't go in there and modify it. Interesting. But I'm assuming if I type or maybe copy paste something in there, it'll allow me to modify it a bit better. But yeah, and fonts sort of automatically seem to get converted sometimes. If I do like a shape builder here, I can sort of automatically, is it already converted maybe? Oh, it's still text, okay. But if I hit it with the shape builder tool, it does make those automatically into curves. What if I do the whole thing add? Okay, so now they are just shapes. Okay, It's just a nice shortcut to do that. You don't need to go like in here and do fucking separate curves, or you don't need to expand it separately, which is nice. Oh, that's interesting. This sort of updates to see which orientation the text is in, or the object is in. Very nice. You can add some skew. I still don't see. Oh, currently this has no hyphenation. Where is hyphenation? I can use the help thingy. This works pretty well. So let's see if I can find a solution for my problem. Hyphenation. Yep, that's what hyphenation does. There is control language section. Oh, okay. See, that's why the help menu can be good. I guess you need to have a specific language. I think the filler text is acting a bit weird. Let me just add some of my own filler text here. And auto hyphenation. Does it ever hyphenate this text? Or does it just not know what to hyphenate because these aren't real words? Add some real English words, maybe it knows what to do with those. Nope. Maybe I don't understand, but doesn't seem to be working how I expect it to. Alright, I think that's a good little overview of some basic things. Maybe I'll do more if people are interested in. But that's sort of the part I was interested in, and it's just basic vector editing, some of the basic functionality, and the sort of more advanced stuff would just come from actually using it and seeing how the experience is in real use. But I think this is good for the scope of this video, so thanks for watching, I guess.